Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Just gonna do a quick AV check. If you guys can see me and hear me clearly, get in the chat box if you don't mind saying yes if you can hear me. Well, that's the important part, just hearing me. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, got a lot of yeses. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Second there, that was unfortunate, but anyway, I'm back online. What just happened in the past 6 months? A lot has happened, and there's no reason to repeat it or dwell in it. But we know what has happened. But as business owners, as SME owners or people who work with the SMEs, we need to know what is the implications. What are the implications of the new world on our business and of course on our sales. This is a very interesting chart published by McKinsey recently, and it shows um, the recovery time of businesses globally, especially SMEs, post-pandemic until we find a cure for us to go back to 2019 levels. Which, by the way, 2019 by itself was not a very good year for many countries. Just a few countries were on the growth path. And I'll give you a couple of examples from this chart just to understand it better. So if you look at the white dots on the left of each line, it shows when the certain industry will go back to normal if a vaccine is found or the virus is contained. On the other hand, the blue dot shows, if we just go as we are right now, we are still trying to contain it. We don't have a vaccine. And how far will we have to go back to 2019 levels? It is a scary chart, but actually, but it is also providing us with a good perception and perspective of the future and see what we need to do. We see that service industry, which majority of probably SMEs are in that area, it's being impacted. Between 2022 to 2025, we see the recovery time. Coming back to construction, well, I live in Dubai. A big part of our industry is about construction and real estate, which is also here, and that is massively impacted. F&B, food and beverages, hospitality up top. Even the most optimistic recovery is predicted to be 2 to 3 years from now. So what do we do about this massive change in the way we are doing business, and how does that impact our sales, and how do we go about mitigating and managing that into our benefit instead of just reacting, being condemned to change? Two areas for the companies who we have today, majority of our clients actually, be it a solopreneur company of one or a company of 50 or 500, our sales funnels are impacted across the board, all of us, the inbound sales and outbound sales. I'm differentiating between these two because the information that flows in these pipelines are different and needs to be monitored much closer and within a context, but also differentiated. It ebbs and flows for a lot of industries. We see some industries, the inbound sales completely dead or flourishing, or outbound sales is impacted massively, or they find a lot of opportunities. So the ebbs and flows continue as we go forward within the inbound and outbound pipelines. Another area of impact, the buyer's journey, the awareness, consideration, and conversion, and all of that. How do the way customers behave nowadays is quite different than a few months ago. These seem to be obvious, but from a strategic and tactical perspective, we need to be aware of what these changes are and how do we mitigate it or take advantage of these changes in behavior. When the behavior of the customer changes, the buyer's journey changes as well. And the customer behavior impacts the customer experience, because the experience we have designed before, the way we were delighting the customer previously, may not work because they're not behaving the way they behaved 6 or 8 months ago. Of course, team experience or employee experience, depending on the size of your, of course, organization, is also having it's taking a direct hit from an experience perspective with the current realities, working from home, other issues. People are being overwhelmed. Of course, job security is impacted, and that directly impacts the customer experience. So it could get really chaotic unless we properly manage it. And when we talk about sales, we have to go back and talk about the sales funnel or the pipeline. Of course, this again seems obvious, but revisiting the funnel from a top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel perspective, where we raise awareness, where we go out and do the marketing. If we're a small company, of course, we have limited digital platforms that we use, word of mouth, referrals, our own in-person meetings. Some of these have been impacted massively. Obviously, we have a much stronger digital presence now, but the noise is also much higher. On the other hand, our personal touch is impacted because we can't meet with people the way we used to. In Dubai, where I live, we are back to normal in the past few weeks. But I can see that the impact on places like South Africa, it's just starting to take shape. So especially if you work internationally, this also gets impacted. So a few things we need to observe even closer and have the tools to do that is it starts with changing customer behavior. The way they become aware of our products and services is slowly changing, in some areas quickly changing. Customers who were refusing to get on digital platforms, get on a phone call or a video chat with you, now they are asking for a video conference with you. So how does that impact our sales funnel? The fact that we cannot meet with them in the middle of the funnel, the consideration period and the conversion period gets impacted as well. So the journey is quite impacted. Competition is fierce, is more ruthless than before. We see a lot of price wars, negative competition, which is futile in the long run. And just senselessly reducing prices and participating in that rat race of price wars, it's not going to work in the long run. It just changes the customer behavior in a more negative way and raises their expectations to unrealistic levels where we cannot come and, as service providers, serve them the way we used to. Cost of a lot of things, our operations, our logistics have increased due to obvious reasons. So we have to be super careful how we are competing with the competition. The new competition is showing up, and some of the companies are leaving the market for various reasons. So that is also something that needs to be monitored very closely. Another thing is the changing trends and platforms through which customers express their loyalty and advocacy. Now, in some countries, even social distancing causes people not to meet their own relatives. So word of mouth and referrals are impacted. People are moving more and more to social media spaces where they become advocates, lovers or haters of the brand. Or the loyalty also changes because they receive a lot of noise from the outside. We also need to consider looking at all of these. Another part is to keeping a tighter lid on customers' database. Now, as micro businesses, as small businesses, we usually start with a spreadsheet or a tool that is incomplete, note-taking tool, just to collect information. And after some time, this gets overwhelming, or we get to lose data. There becomes a lot of leaks within our funnel. Did I follow up with that person? Did I call them or not? And how much can we remember? And are we going to go dig into the emails from 3 months ago or 6 months ago? These are not realistic. And with the norms changing, someone who was not your prospect or customer last year might very well be a very strong prospect now. So what kind of tools do you have to go back and see where the information is and how to get reports on that? Keeping an extra focus on strategic accounts. By strategic accounts, I mean recurring income, or companies or customers who can refer you to others, or you can put in your portfolio, be proud of. These have strategic long-term values for your company. So it is worth, paying them extra attention delighting them a bit more. Okay, I'll talk through it. It's about keeping a tighter lid, and I'll move to slide 40 in a moment. So we're going to pay more attention to customer database, how we are collecting data, and also focusing on strategic accounts, and then again differentiating and within a context, within the same context, differentiating and focusing on inbound and outbound pipelines, keeping a closer look at the trends, changes, and what kind of data we can extract, and of course putting them into reports and analytics that helps us make decisions for the future. And this future, by the way, in this year of 2020, is changing like every day. So what you might plan for the next month may not really be 100% reliable. So just wrapping up here, because it is an important matter, is the reports and analytics that you need to have. Reports are not just an Excel file being sent from your accountant, who you might probably be outsourcing, because that's the report of what has happened. It's not a report of what is happening right now and may not really give you an idea of what could be in the future. So you got to focus on observing the trends, the seasonalities that are changing so rapidly. That is, a very important thing. And for that, of course, apart from a good team mindset and everything and strategy and the right processes in place, doesn't need to be complicated for a micro SME or an SME. It could be very, very clear, a couple of processes, how you manage your sales funnel. And then taking it one next level and using the right technology. With the right technology, you don't need to go and buy, something that has all the bells and whistles. If you're still starting, and I saw in the previous poll that some people, they're not using Zoho, probably they're using other tools, or if you're still relying on spreadsheets or a tool that is not specifically designed to manage our sales pipeline, it is definitely worth considering investing in technology. And okay, I just got a confirmation that everything works. So technology that focuses on customer experience helps you go back to the pre-COVID, era where you could really delight your customer much easier, and also employee experience. Yeah, picking up the phone. It's really interesting that we are observing, we actually witnessing that 100-something-year-old technology is having a comeback. People are picking up the phone. They want to talk. It was usually the fact, phone calls were becoming more and more irrelevant. At least we were observing it. But nowadays, people want to talk. So let's have that phone support even during the sales process back online. Let's not shy away from having a conversation, jumping on a video call, an audio call with our prospect, actually keeping it more closely. So let's use proper technologies there. Becoming more available. Use a combination of automatic bots and a good tool and notifications, and of course a human touch to be more of it, show more sympathy to the issues that the customers are facing. I bet most of you noticed that the customers or prospects are more frustrated overall and less patient. I was reading on Scientific American and on World Economic Forum that right now we are in the middle of the biggest psychological experiment in the history of human beings. We are not used to being stuck and locked down in our own homes for weeks and months. So let's have more sympathy with our customers and with our employees who are trying to work from home and connect while the dog is barking in the background or someone's cooking or the kids are screaming. So let's have that human touch back in our entire process. And technology can help with that. And of course, invest frugally. Don't go out and buy the most expensive software, even if you can afford. There are free editions. There are tools that you can start with. We're about to introduce you to one in a moment, and try and estimate a 10x return on investment when you're spending money on technology, which is quite achievable nowadays if you choose the right tool and choose the right partner for you to work with. What we need to do now is our turn as small businesses and micro small businesses to reclaim our sales funnel. and make sure that we know exactly what's going on, and also predict the near future, and you know, fine tune the direction of the company in a way that maximizes the benefits of these opportunities that are, you know, ahead of us. Thank you so much for your time.